On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning. Kevin Durant, you should have left California.
This Brownsexual upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa. Hell no! Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
We hope y'all enjoyed your holiday, because we certainly did. Good morning. Welcome to the Wacky Wednesday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have y'all with us. Making adjustments, of course, as we go. And with me, of course, the man in charge of Cole Sports. We call him Cole Johnson. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, man. I hope your fourth went well. Considering hello everybody in the Fanatic Feedback Zone, everybody watching and listening.
Yeah, and shout to those listening live right now on WIRU in WIRU-DB in Chicago, as well as WLEO in Baltimore, and all the points northeast, south, and west. 10:05 is your time, and this is your whip around presented by Fanatics.
Here we go. All right, so we start with a couple of bad news items for the Angels. First with Shohei Ohtani. Now, he exited early during yesterday's game that he started, and he doesn't expect to pitch in the All-Star game. Now, he has a blister on his middle finger of his pitching hand, and he said afterwards that he likely will not pitch next week. The right-handed Ohtani was pulled from the pitching mound at Petco Park in the bottom of the sixth, after giving up back-to-back homers to Xander Bogaerts and Jay Cronenworth on 3 pitches. That was the first time in his career he has given up consecutive homers. He exited the field with a trainer as the Angels trailed the Padres 5-1. He also has been dealing with a cracked fingernail on the same finger as the blister, and an issue that has been pushing back his scheduled start by a day. Now, he didn't return to the lineup as designated hitter as well, as the Angels called on someone else to pinch hit in the top of the 9th inning. Your thoughts on if this is going to be a troublesome thing going forward for the Angels?
It is a troublesome thing. Yeah. It's a troublesome thing already when one of your key stars, or in this case, 2 of them, go down with an injury with a team that is, I'll put this word in here, supposedly contending for a wild card berth. Now, is it true that they're over 500 right now? Yeah, they are. But at the same time, A, these are the Angels, and B, these are your 2 biggest stars, both going down with an injury.
Oh yeah. Speaking about the other big star of the Angels,
I'll do this one. Mike Trout suffers a broken bone, likely out 6 to 8 weeks.
Huge blow.
Man, oh man. I mean, just when the Angels seemed like they were getting it right, this happens. And I mean, injuries happen to any and everybody, whether you're a contender or not. True. I do not wish injury on anybody. But doesn't it seem like to you that this just, if the Angels are snake bitten when it comes to this?
Exactly, snake bitten. I think that's the right word to put it, because at least in the years prior to this one, the thought process is, okay, they're doing well, Ohtani and Trout. They're doing well, but the team sucks. So they could be in the seller's market anytime they want before the trade deadline. Well, here they are this year. They actually are contending for a playoff spot, and both go down with injuries in July. And the trading deadline is in 4 weeks. So you couldn't even try to move them and be in the seller's market if you tried. So it's like,
you can't.
darn if you, darn if you can't, darn if you're not.
You can't move them, which means they're going to reset the market this coming off season. And when I mean reset it, it's going to be one of the hardest resets in baseball that we've ever seen in a long time.
And it will now be contingent on if the Angels are willing to pay that big time price tag for 2 of these players.
Which should frighten you.
Yeah, it does.
Which should absolutely frighten you.
Yeah. Well, currently the Angels are 7 games back of the Rangers for first place in the AL West. They are 4 back of the Astros for second place in the division, where if they were to be where the Astros are, they would actually hold one of the 3 wildcard spots going into October.
And quickly to the Fanatic Feedback Zone, Dan Levely, who joins us, says no Trout, no Ohtani. Angels have no chance to make the playoffs. Ohtani will be back in a couple of weeks, though, but still no Trout. That hurts. You lose your biggest bat in the save Ohtani. You lose your biggest bat in the order.
Yeah, biggest bat in the lineup, and you're one of your best glove men too. So
it's like when the Astros started the season without Jose Altuve. And now the Astros are rounding into shape. The Astros seem to be getting their act together, which is kind of what I said when people wrote them off, because the Rangers got off to you didn't write them off. I know that. The Rangers got off to such a hot start. Oh, look at the Rangers! Look at the Rangers! What have I always said? To be the champs, you must unseat the champs. And right now, the Astros are still the champs.
It was funny. People, there was a person that asked me back in April about the Rangers' hot start. I said, "Yeah, it's a good hot start, and it might last a bit because the arms are doing it. But I think they're gonna come back to the pack.
And now they're minus
probably July, August, September.
And now they're minus Jacob deGrom for the remainder of the year.
Yeah, and that is the mighty blow for them. Now for the Astros, when I saw in the I forgot what you call it, the World Baseball Classic back in March when Altuve went down, I actually said, okay, well that means the Astros are gonna get off to a real slow start, and they did. So that's why I wasn't even shocked when I saw them get to a slow start. That's why I wasn't shaking when people were like, "Yeah, the Astros, they ain't gonna make the playoffs." I'm like, long season.
This is why you play 100. This is why you play 162 games. This is why you figure out what you need to figure out as the season goes along. And the most dangerous team right now in the American League is the Houston Astros, because they're rounding into shape. They're getting their act together. And strange as this sounds, and you know this is a young ball club.
Yeah, and this crew has done this before. So,
and who's their manager?
Dusty Baker, who he's a grinder. He's a grinder all on his own accord. So a grinder coaching grinders. I'm like,
you could pretty much. I hate to say this, Texas Rangers, as much as you're off to a hot start, you could pretty much wave bye-bye to that division because the Astros are coming for you. Period.
Yeah.
You could pretty much wave bye-bye to that division.
Yeah.
We got an MLS record to talk about.
Yes, we do.
And before we do that, I must do this in Ryan McCarthy style. Wait a minute, a pair of black men talking about, oh God, dare I say it, Major League Soccer? Because 82,110 crammed the Rose Bowl to watch the Battle of Los Angeles as the Galaxy defeated LAFC at the Rose Bowl. Let that number sink in. On American soil, say the 99 Women's World Cup, 82,110 in Los Angeles. Now imagine if the other teams in Major League Soccer took advantage of that and blew the doors off the water with their with attendance
Mm-hmm.
because the Fire played at Soldier Field, now Toyota Park. We mentioned this one at the Rose Bowl. Do you realize this sets a precedent now for Major League Soccer?
It does.
They're 2 decades in.
It does. It sets precedent, and it also sets a benchmark. And I think it's one that comes at a really good time because, all right. Well, let's do something that we never do, and that's tell the truth.
I love you for that because
Thank you.
we both have gotten that comment so many damn times.
Right.
And a quick answer to Hog TV's question: yep, I'm feeling good today, man.
So, well, we're in 2023. People have said in 20 years, the Latin population will be the majority in this country. So, the prevailing game that the populace there love the most is soccer. So, it will not be surprising to me that we see more of these numbers grow as the decades roll along because, well, this is a world sport and many around the world love soccer. So
yeah, they do.
Seeing this, to me, I think this is a harbinger of things to come. Now, the question will always be, like we'll ask with any league, it doesn't matter if it's whatever sport. Can they be the proper caretakers of the sport and grow it in the way where it doesn't insult the people who follow it?
Exactly, because we've seen leagues come and go where they set attendance records and then they fall by the wayside less than a year later because you don't have the right people in charge taking care of it, and as you said, grow the sport and grow its popularity.
Yeah.
And a lot of this stems, and I'll say it again, a lot of this stems from the old MISL when they sold out the joint every night.
Yeah, because we remember that early to mid 80s.
I mean,
that was one of the most exciting things we watched.
And they put, dear God, I'm going to mention a concept that is going to have people cussing. They put it on network television, for God's sakes.
Yeah. And it actually
put it on network television.
And it actually drew people to watch. I mean, soccer can work even without the Latin component. Soccer can work in the United States, but for some reason, we've always wanted to make it the fifth sport by a mile that we want to follow.
Let's tell the truth even further. There's a certain population that doesn't want to take the chance to grow the sport, and I don't have to say any more.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. Right. Sorry about that, folks.
That's right.
I don't have to say any more.
Well, they got to deal with it. Yeah,
I do not have to say another word.
You don't, and they have to deal with it because the growth is coming, whether they like it or not.
One more. So this is the plight of the Cubs. David Ross rips an umpire and the decision to close the roof in Milwaukee. And that's how we close the whip around this morning.
What? He actually just jumps off a Cubs story. I'm surprised. Reason being, I'm going to hold on to that one for later in the week. I figured you would. A break, and when we, good Lord, a break, and then when we come back, 15 players that in the NFL who we're looking at to see if they're going to have a stellar second year. Well, this is Snowman in the morning with Cole Johnson. Back in 2.
We're not a cooking show. We're a show about cooking. We turn the camera around and point it at you. Our show takes place right inside your kitchen.
If you start me up, I'll never stop.
Hey, y'all, Snowman here. Catch me, Cole Johnson, Wise El Jefe, and the usual cast of characters as we bring it to you every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m.
10 a.m.
It's called Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, and it's right here on CSTV and CSTVnow.com. Join us, won't you?
I'm in another lane, I'm a different breed. I'm everything you can never be. I'm next level. Next level.
Thursday nights are wrestling night on CSTV. Tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific to see all the amazing Next Level Pro Wrestling stars on Thursday Night Throwdown on CSTVnow.com and the CSTV app on your Roku device.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
God, I will always applaud your brilliance for that ad.
Thank you.
To the point where we spent about, I think, a half hour coming up with different PSAs after you debuted that.
Yeah.
Oh, Lordy. Cole Johnson, Brian Snow here with you. Snowman in the Morning, the Wacky Wednesday edition. Y'all know what's coming in hour 2, but here in hour 1, 15 second-year players who must step up. And we begin with the Washington Redskins. Oh, God. Here comes
Sam Howell.
Thank you. You beat me to it. Okay. Sam Howell out of North Carolina will be the starting quarterback.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be. Yeah,
he's going to be the starting quarterback for the Redskins.
Yes.
And what thrust him into the spotlight was a 26-6 thrashing over the Dallas Cowgirls.
And the game wasn't even that close.
No. I mean, had they not turned the ball over twice, it would have been a 40-piece by the Redskins.
Yeah.
Eric Bieniemy is now the offensive coordinator in Washington, and that's a discussion.
Oh, and the assistant head coach.
That's a discussion for later.
Oh, I know, but I had to add.
I know
the assistant head coach too, because that's part of his title. And messy as heck. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
About as messy as FedEx Field.
Which that thing in less than 30 years is about to listen. That thing in less than 30 years is about to crumble. That feels
that sucker is about to go bye-bye. All right. I take an old dilapidated RFK Stadium that had some spirit, that had some soul, and that had some spark than the mess they call FedEx Field, which ain't even in Washington, D.C. It's in Landover, Maryland.
Yeah. It's about in a suburb about 5 to 7 miles away. Yeah.
Then you have the curious case of Kenny Pickett. I said Penny.
Penny,
I'm sorry. I slipped. I truly Freudian slip. As the only first-round quarterback on this list, Pickett has far more leeway than many others. No, he doesn't.
For
2 reasons.
Yeah, go ahead.
1, he plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's what I was going to say.
And 2, he plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I'm like, no leeway is given because I know this now from experience because as you know, for 2 years I worked under a manager who is probably the most ardent Steelers supporter I have ever known in my entire life. And although she will give some excuses to her teams sometimes, the standard is the ring or nothing. So even with teams as bad as the Steelers are now, the standard is still the ring or nothing, or the Vince Lombardi Trophy or nothing. And with Pickett, what makes the pressure even more intense with him is that he actually played in University of Pittsburgh too. So he's a Pitt guy, so he's considered a Pittsburgher, and so of course Steelers fan is like, yes, that's our guy until he's going to drop the ball,
until he suits up for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, I hate. What did you say in the first segment? Let's do something we rarely do on this show. Tell the damn truth. And yes, that's a direct shot at quite a few people. But moving on, you have, and speaking of curious case, you have the curious case of Desmond Ritter of the Dirty Birds, aka the Atlanta Falcons.
And
I have two problems.
Go ahead.
One, he ain't starting this year, which is a stupid decision. And two, more importantly, who the hell is he going to throw it to?
See, he's a curious case. I mean, we both know who Desmond Ritter was. He was
Cincinnati.
Right. He was the quarterback in the University of Cincinnati who took them to a national semifinal matchup and had an undefeated Cincinnati team go there. So he has some skill. There's no question about that.
No question whatsoever.
This is the curious case about him. He has skill, but it looks like he got drafted onto a team that doesn't utilize his skill set well.
I mean, for God's sakes, they started Marcus Mariota for 13 games. 14, I beg your pardon.
Yeah,
14 games. 14. They started Marcus Mariota. If that doesn't tell you about the decision-making of the brass in Atlanta, then nothing will. Rashad White, running back of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
He'll get some opportunity.
Okay. Moving on.
No, I'm saying he'll get some opportunity.
Moving on. Treylon Burks, wide receiver, Tennessee Titans.
Sky Moore, wide receiver at the Chiefs.
You beat me to that. When
All
your
right.
partner in radio and one of your best friends knows you that well, okay.
Here's all you all need to know about Treylon Burks. Now, I talked to Cool off air about this.
Yes.
And Cool, he has said that because the Eagles gave, and I actually say gave because I think
you can capitalize that word from my end. They gave him
because the Titans, because the Titans gave AJ Brown to the Eagles. To me, the Titans shot themselves in the foot, and the reason why they figure, here's this wide receiver from Arkansas. He has the same size as AJ Brown does. It looks like the scouting report reads he has the similar type of skill set as Brown has. All right, cool. We don't have to pay a whole boatload of money to keep Brown. We could just get Brown off the team, put Burks on it, and we could just plug and play.
No.
We could just simply plug and play. We could get Brown out, put Burks in, everything would be fine.
And how did that work out?
It worked out horribly. 33 receptions, 444 yards last year. It worked out horribly.
Only 11 yards per reception.
And now in his second year, he's going to be called on to be the number one receiver on a team that has Derrick Henry on it.
There's a couple of receivers that have a curious case in front of them. Tyquan Thornton for the New England Patriots and Jamison Williams of the Detroit Lions. What are they expecting from Jamison Williams? Him to become Calvin Johnson? Or even I can't think of his name. 91. Herman Moore. Herman Moore. Are they expecting Jamison Williams to become Herman Moore? And for that matter, are they expecting Tyquan Thornton to become Troy Brown?
Okay, I'll start with Williams first. No, I don't think they expect him to be Calvin Johnson or Herman Moore.
Mm-hmm.
He has a little more speed than the other two. So I expect him. I think the way he could contribute to the Lions would be if he would be married to wanting to run across the middle, because that's the way you would have to utilize a speedy receiver. Is to basically put him in the slot and have him abuse slower players that is in the slot positions, like linebackers, like defensive linemen who
Mm-hmm.
they can't really grab on to a speedy wide receiver. Now
Right.
some linebackers can run with a speedy wide receiver, but basically to have him do that all 60 minutes, that is asking too much
That
of
that
one.
ain't that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. So to me, that takes care of Williams, and I think he is blessed to be in a system where it is that ball's gonna be spread out.
Mm-hmm.
Now with Tyquan Thornton, the question
Okay.
for me is not necessarily his speed, is not necessarily his skill set. My question is who is going to throw him the ball?
You beat me to it because it certainly ain't gonna be Mac Jones. He's too married. He is too married to everybody else to throw him the ball.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big doggone it. This doggone thing. Big problem I see there.
Mm-hmm.
Big problem.
Yeah. I mean, between him, let's see, Mac Jones and doggone it, Bailey, but his first name escapes me. Between those two, you don't know who is going to throw Thornton or anybody else who's going to be a wide receiver or running back on the Patriots the ball.
Mm-hmm. Right. I'll tell you one player on this list I'm not worried about. His name is Nakobe Dean, linebacker for Philadelphia.
Oh man,
I'm not worried about Nakobe. I have no reason to worry about Nakobe Dean.
If I were him, I'd be smiling ear to ear just for these two reasons. One, he is on a team where you have a lot of studs on it.
Mm-hmm.
On defense. And two, in my personal opinion, if there was an area that I thought the Eagles were weakest on all team wide, it would be linebacker.
It would be linebacker.
He fits the bill. So, a Buckets Award winner. He comes from Georgia. So obviously he knows how to play defense well. And he has the ability to step his game up. So I'm with you. To me, he is going to do well. And if the Eagles defense operates the way it should, somewhere down the line, he might be a contender for Defensive Player of the Year. I'm not saying this year, but I mean somewhere down the line.
And very soon.
Mm-hmm.
And very soon.
Yeah.
Now here's one name here's one name, and my comment therein is going to have my partner laughing his head off.
Okay.
Caleb Evans, cornerback, Minnesota Vikings. There are two problems. One, you're in Minnesota. And two, when are you going to see the field?
Oh, no. He probably will see the field. That's not going to be a problem.
With everybody running past him?
Doggone it. Because on a nail on head, because the reason why I was saying it that way. People will rave about last year the Vikings went 13-4
with a -5 point differential.
And then he goes exactly where I was about to go. Yes. But the team was outscored. So that tells me the defense didn't do much to help the cause of the whole team. And he's going to be inserted on a squad where teams feel really comfortable throwing on him. Heck, you had Daniel Jones throw for 300 yards against this defense.
In a playoff game.
Daniel Jones threw for 300 yards against them.
Let's repeat that statement. Daniel Jones threw 2 300-yard games. One in the regular season when the Vikings walked off, and the other one when the Giants punched him in the mouth in the playoffs. Caleb Evans, and on top of that, you know what Caleb Evans has to see in week 8? Brandon Ayuk. Deebo Samuel. Jawan Jennings. And by that time, possibly Brock Purdy. Good luck.
So he's supposed to put the Band-Aid on a defense where
that ain't worth
secondary. Yeah, where it's secondary allowed 266 yards per game. No, thank you. And I mean, they allowed 266 passing yards per game. No, thank you.
And 2 300-yard games to Daniel Jones.
Talk about who he's going to throw to. Besides Saquon Barkley. Now, this year, of course, he has another weapon in Darren Waller. But besides Saquon Barkley, who the heck else would he throwing the ball to? And Daniel Jones threw for 300 yards against this defense.
Twice. 2 times. There are no big time. I mean, Darren Waller, love you, but there were no big time receivers for the New York Football Giants, and yet Daniel Jones, of all quarterbacks in the NFL that ain't named Kenny Pickett, throws 2 300-yard games. 2. And the bad part is, Minnesota, the second one ended your season.
Yeah.
Oh, and oh, by the way, he rushed for 77 yards in that playoff game.
Yes.
He rushed for 77 yards in that playoff game.
Which tells you, too, that, the front seven is not that great of shakes either. Yes.
We'll close with this before we go to break. There's much respect being put on your quarterback's name, Wise. Don't get it twisted. But you know where Minnesota's defense really started to go downhill? And I want y'all to think back to this. Think back to January 2020 when they went to Santa Clara. And they got beat to shreds.
Come on, Wise. We are putting some respect on Daniel Jones's name. Because we didn't call him Daniel Penny.
Doggone, he beat me to it.
We ain't calling him Danny Dimes. We didn't call him Daniel Penny.
Nope. And not going to either.
I mean, and we did put respect on your quarterback's name. Please, Wise. Now they have Darren Waller, but last year, who besides Saquon Barkley was Mr. Jones religiously going to in the passing game? You know the answer to that question a lot better than we do, because the answer to that question is. Man.
Stephen A. Smith makes a confession. Back in a deuce.
This is Snowman in the morning.
This planet has been great to me. It's given me gifts that I can't even explain. It's given me adventures and memories I'll never forget. And Battleborn, I think, has given me the opportunity to go beyond and give something back. How can I be a better custodian to this planet and the place I live? That's where I am with Battleborn. Let's make the planet a better place.
Hey everybody, Brian Snow here. Want to do some afternoon sports talk with me and be interactive? Also meet some great guests from every walk of life? Then tune in to The Brian Snow Show on CSTV and CSTVnow.com. Weekdays at 2 p.m. Come on aboard and enjoy the ride.
Soon to be 4 p.m. Eastern.
PK Tire Pro is your one-stop on-the-spot auto service headquarters for a complete line of quality tires and auto services. For years, we have provided the Stockton, California area with the latest products and unprecedented services for everything we sell. And for years, our customers have been coming back. Take a look around. If you don't find what you need, visit us in Stockton, California. From the latest and best in tire technology to the services required to keep your vehicle looking good and running great, PK Tire Pros can get you out on the road quickly and at an affordable price. Stop by soon to see why so many people consider PK Tire Pros to be the one-stop shop for all of their tire needs. At PK Tire Pros, our friendly and knowledgeable staff, quick and dependable service professionals, and affordable prices all come together to make driving out on a new set of tires easy. On top of that, we never tire of tires. Stop by and see us, and you'll be glad you did.
'Cause we take this job so serious.
The is that? Sorry, pardon me. My apologies.
What in the all types of blue hell?
This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. And now wishing this wonderful stellar man a happy birthday. Number 420, Wise El Jefe. Number 420.
Happy birthday, Wise. You stupid. You stupid. You stupid. That's all I'm gonna say.
What? What do I do to warrant
Shut
it?
up.
Stupid.
Shut up.
I can't say happy birthday to one of my bros.
I know you are, and I am too.
Mm-hmm.
But as you have learned, it's not what you say most of the time.
Oh, it's how I say it.
It is how you say it. And most of the time, how you, sir, say something within this brotherhood and sisterhood has us all on the floor cracking up.
Oh, yeah, you got a point. Yo Kang and Vicola. Yeah, got you. Point taken.
And the first time you said the first two words, which we will push the plunger on in hour 2,
mm-hmm.
I have not been able to get that out of my head. since you debuted All right, back to business. Stephen A. Smith said ESPN colleagues who were laid off, quote, deserved better, close quote. I'll stop there. I don't need to read anymore.
All right. I think I'll take this one a bit. All right, so
I'm seeing the wheels turning at 100 miles an hour, and you.
Mm-hmm. So Stephen A. Smith.
Let me just
Yes,
say
sir.
this one sentence.
Yes, sir.
You hypocrite, Stephen A.
Me? Oh,
no,
I was
no,
about to say.
no, not you,
Mhm.
Negro Night.
No, Lord, not Negro Night.
And y'all know I'm onto something because I rarely use that word. I rarely use that term, but that hypocrite deserves it in this case. This is the same guy who pushed the plunger to get Max Kellerman off of First Take.
And was proud to do so.
And
strutted like a peacock.
And try to explain it away for 2 years.
Yeah. Strutted like a peacock.
Yes, he did.
Saying, well, look, it's not an indictment against Max. It's just that our partnership didn't work, and yes, it was me that pulled the trigger on having him leave the show. I'm like, oh Lord, dude.
So he also
your big time self-importance is getting at a all time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And he also says that he could be next.
Mm-hmm.
May I?
Okay.
Your ass should have went with Max Kellerman.
Mm.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
So on his platform, the Stephen A. Smith Show, this past Monday, he had the forum to himself, and he decided to editorialize his colleagues leaving ESPN. And he had this to say, quote, ESPN just the other day laid off about 20 members of its on-air talent. Friends of mine, actually. Definitely respected colleagues who have done a phenomenal job and deserve better. But it's not Disney nor ESPN that they deserve better from. They deserve better than the times we are living in. Close quote. Sir?
You know what? Take the camera. I'm going to go make some coffee. You go off for a minute, And when I come back, I'll be infused, and then I'm going to go off.
Oh,
Floor is
perfect.
yours.
Oh, perfect. Well, Mr. Stephen A., I think you're about to get one of these, sir. And not just Stephen A., but those who also think that all ESPN does is just lay off individuals, too. Now, he goes onward and he says that he could be next, that his eyes are wide open and he's never comfortable and he doesn't take anything for granted and he doesn't assume safety on his position. Now, along the line, Smith took time to shout out several colleagues, including Jalen Rose, who he called a brilliant basketball mind, and Jeff Van Gundy, who he says that Stephen A. called him a Hall of Fame analyst and commentator. Now, I'm going to direct this to him. Firstly, the reason why most of your colleagues got laid off is because of your contract. Yes, your bloated contract. And I understand, look, it's a capitalist system. I get it. You're the face of the television, not just programming on ESPN. You're the face of the network. I mean, now when people associate ESPN, it's gotten like how it was in the 80s when we thought of Bob Lee and Tom Mees and Chris Berman. It was like in the 90s when we thought of Keith Olbermann and Dan Patrick. And probably even Linda Cohn, you could slide her in there. It's like the 2000s when we thought of Stuart Scott and Rich Eisen. We get that you are now the face of ESPN, but the problem, though, sir, is you have to deal with the consequences along therein. And yes, it sounds quaint. It sounds wonderful. It sounds great that you can't be comfortable and you might be next. But, sir,
why the you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my gosh, stop lying. Always lying to me. You lying so much. You making it hard for me. Yeah.
It is rumored, and it probably is fact, that you earn 8 figures a year from the company that laid off those wonderful colleagues that you called, the 20 or so colleagues and friends of yours. But you have been on this, not just your own, but others on podcasts, from The Pivot to the platform with Jay Williams and Kevin Durant and many others, when you boldly talked about how how you are trying to think every day of being one to make the company that you work for make money, and how you can have a part of that, which I understand that because I'm in the same boat. But you also talk about proudly, even now, how you ushered out Max Kellerman, one of those colleagues of yours. I don't think you call him a friend, but one of those colleagues of yours that you personally ushered off a First Take. Because guaranteed, if he was still on First Take, I think he would probably be protected and saved. Why? Because your voice does matter, and I think you shortchanged that on purpose. But no, you were proud of that. You got on every single mic known to man about Max Kellerman and the time he spent on ESPN, and when he went off, when you said, quote, yeah, I was the one who got his up on out of there because it just wasn't working. Close quote. That was you. That wasn't anybody else. That was you. Strutting like a peacock, crowing to anybody and everybody who would listen to you. And now we see a program that Max Kellen was on, but now instead of him, we have JJ Redick, who to me he's up and down. He knows basketball, but he also comes up with whack takes that let you know, Lord have mercy, you want to be a millennial on camera.
And then there's the curious case of Kendrick Perkins.
And then there is the guy who
before he continues, ladies and gentlemen, a selection from the Wonder Bread Choir entitled Negro Be Lying. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
And then there's Mr. You're Trippin' himself. You invite him on First Take 3 days out the week. Why? Because you, sir, feel comfortable because you know more in media than he does. Oh, did I leak out your secret, Stephen?
Secret?
I'm sorry.
Yes. Matter of fact,
sorry.
spill all the tea. Spill all the coffee. Screw the tea. Spill it all.
You know, there was I forgot who exactly said this to me, but it was it was some wise words that were said to me when I was 17. And it was, if you are the smartest person in the room, you better change the rooms in which you are going in.
Sounds like my pop.
And why do I say that? Well, Stephen A., you were pushed by not being the smartest person in the room. And you have crowed about this too, saying that, yes, I'm smart because I know that I don't know everything. Well, you're acting like you do know everything.
Back up. Repeat that again.
Okay. Mr. Stephen A. Smith often has said, quote,
oh dear,
I know I'm smart because I don't know everything. Close quote. Now, you crow about all of that. However, you act opposite of that. You act as though you know you are the smartest person in the room, and you conduct yourself like that. How do I know? All I have to do is look at First Take. You shame Molly Karam almost every chance you get. You shame Kendrick Perkins almost every chance you get. You shame JJ Redick almost every chance he gets, and you shame Dan Orlovsky every chance you get.
Even if their takes are correct and based on facts. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I spill that?
And even if their takes are more knowledgeable than yours because they have done the endeavor more closely than you have.
Especially when he goes head to head with Dan Orlovsky, who actually played the sport of football
professionally. Meanwhile, you have bragged and said you've never played a down of football. You're just a fan.
Well, there's your problem right there.
It's things like that. Oh, and then on top of it, you would love to get into these battles with Jay Williams. And now he is one of those colleagues and probably you consider friend that is exiting stage left from ESPN. All because you, sir, have to be the king of all you survey. That is the reason why ESPN was easily taking all those names and putting all of them on a chopping block, because they have to usher in your contract, Mike Greenberg's contract, which is very close to yours, and the incoming Pat McAfee contract.
And the bad part is Greeny actually knows his stuff, unlike you, Stephen A. Oh, did I say that aloud?
So you have to understand something, Stephen A. All of how this works, ESPN had to afford you in order to put all those names on the chopping block. So guess who those friends and colleagues of yours have to look at as the reasons why they no longer have a job. They had to go so that a fledgling network had to justify you being the poster child of ESPN to be fiscally responsible enough to afford you. Oh, and to those who do not know how all of this works, let me give you some insight on my situation. So,
are you about to hip him to some game?
A little bit. So,
get him. Cook.
So, I'm also a part of a national media conglomerate. And no, I'm not smoking weed. I'm not what's the word? Chemically imbalanced. No, I work for USA Today. Have done so for 5 years. In fact, the 5th year anniversary is coming up in 3 weeks. I had to endure not one, not two, but 3 layoff possibilities to happen at my job. This is par for the course. And many people want to throw shade at ESPN. I'm like, okay, you can throw shade at them all you want. But this is not an ESPN thing. This is a national mainstream media thing. You know why all of this is happening? Because of programs like this. Because of programs like No Credentials Required. Programs like Stuck in My Mind. Programs like The Brian Snow Show. Programs like Cole Sports. Programs like David 3000. Programs like Queen 3 and King, Forecast. I can go on and on. Many people who are watching now and listening now, they want alternative entertainment. And the mainstream just isn't cutting it because the mainstream wants to figure in that we want to appeal to the masses by throwing money on the situation. And they are learning on the fly they can't do that. So why are your favorites leaving? That's why they're leaving. Because they don't have a job, because the consumer base is looking for entertainment elsewhere. And am I faulting them? No. I'm just telling you the truth. And that's why all of these places, ESPN, CBS, NBC, ABC / Disney, Fox, all of them, by the way, who have announced major league layoffs. USA Today, December, major league layoff. Oh, and by the way, it was the 3rd layoff in December, the 3rd layoff that my company underwent in the last 6 months. So if you're going to look at how media rolls nationally and mainstream, this is par for the course, because you now have people who can build their own media without the necessary arm of Big Brother helping them along. And you're going to see more of this adjustment coming down the pike, because that is what you want. And what you want matters, not what the networks do. So, Mr. Stephen A. Smith, I want you to understand that. You have your own platform now. You need to build on it, and you need to build on it fast. Because if not, this will not only be the 4th program of yours that is supposed to be separate from ESPN that you have built that faltered, but it will mean that you're now coming close to 56-year-old, tired, Barney taking behind is going to be shown the door very soon, because you, and let me see if I can put this as nicely as I can.
No, don't. Say it real.
You and your foot in the 60s, but thinking that you're today's behind, is going to be left behind, because you and your act would have gotten tired, would have gotten old, and would have gotten passé. So I leave you with those words, Mr. Stephen A. Smith. You know your job isn't in jeopardy now, because a whole company is depending on you and your horrible biased takes.
And the bad part is, to echo something you've said throughout that entire thing, he set the whole deal up.
Yes.
He set the whole thing up.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take 180 seconds, and when we come back, hour 2 begins in earnest. Back in a minute.
This is Snowman in the morning.
Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
He was only 58 years old when he passed away. That outcome could have been different.
Colorado happens to be one of the worst states for radon levels.
It's in our ground, and it seeps up.
The more you breathe radon, the more chance you have of DNA being hit and the cell mutated. The EPA estimates 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year caused by radon.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
You have fun. Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just...
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Time for hour 2 of this spectacular. Ryan McCoffey now joins us this morning.
That's what you need to do to beat Josh Allen. You need to make him uncomfortable.
Hour 2, time for some Spivey notes. And here's Jay.
Well, I know he's only in his 3rd year, but they're just wasting Justin Herbert.
Hour 2,
the hardest working content creator I know, the playmaker.
Hey, LeBron James, the greatest scorer of all time. Hey.
Hour 2, the one, the only Christopher Dietz.
They rewarded Ohio State for not playing, and they punished USC for playing.
Hour 2, Sam Shady.
Oh man, it's been a roller coaster ride if you were a Philadelphia Stars fan.
Hour 2, that's Big Ben, the man in charge of the BS3 network.
And if I see Kurt 2 Chainz Cousins out.
Hour 2, Chris Bay's joining us.
Oh my God, this game. Oh, way to go, Sammy.
Hour 2 was El Jefe.
Oh man, I thought I missed it.
What in the all types of blue hell?
Time for hour 2 of this spectacular, and it starts right now. Man, oh man. Everybody's doing well here. Thank you all for joining us here for hour 2. Excuse me a minute. while we get things adjusted, there's a fellow, doggone it. Hold on. There's a fellow by the name of James Harden. Yes, that James Harden. Thanks to Doc Rivers, learning about how hard it was to coach James Harden. And now James Harden, let me just get right to it. James Harden wants to leave Philadelphia. More in a moment. Let me say hello to the folks in Salem, Oregon at KSOS, the Soul of Salem. Also to WRUDB in Chicago, and to the folks watching on BS3 TV as well as CSTV in Nevada and all points west. James Harden, wait. Let me do this the right way. You deserve one of these. Now you want to leave Philadelphia the same way you left Houston, the same way you left Brooklyn. Now you want to just leave Philadelphia in the lurch the same way. First of all, you're not worth it. Second of all, you don't play basketball the correct way, which is fundamentally sound. And third of all, you have been praised far too long for playing the game of basketball incorrectly. The MVP that you got, you didn't deserve it. Because let me put it in the form of a question that my partner asked a lot, and that I continue to ask a lot. What have you done, James Harden, to impact the game, revolutionize the game, and change the game? Nothing. Noth and ing. Period. You're getting old fast and you're getting stale fast. And there's no way you're going to help a team win a championship because you don't have it in you. Oh, did I say that aloud? I sure did. And I don't care. You don't have it in you to help your team win a championship. Period. You know why you don't have it in you? Because you've had coaches that acquiesce to you and your talents instead of you acquiescing to the team's goals. Let me say that again. You have players acquiesce to you and your talents or lack thereof, and you don't want to acquiesce to a team's goals. Period. You've always been that way since you left Oklahoma City, which should have been the Seattle Supersonics, but I digress. You ain't worth it. And Dan just posed a great, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? Who wants to take on that ridiculous, unearned, uncouth max contract situation? Who would actually be dumb enough to take that on? Because the last two teams you've played with, you forced via trade. When you realized you weren't going to win a title in Houston after the bubble tournament, you wanted to get out. And unfortunately, they ain't letting you out. So you had to become fatter and all get out, and you had to force your way out. Now you're trying to do it in Philadelphia when you've left no impact on the team, when you left no impact on the league, and you once again failed to win the ultimate prize, which is a championship. And you have a rare commodity. You're a left-handed shooter. That should be hard enough to guard. But you have to add a step back travel or step back three to that? What? I hate to inform you of this, James Harden, but you can't play basketball, and you certainly can't do it right. Because if you were doing it right, you would do it in the context of an offense. Your best chance to win a title was 2018, and you and the Rockets blew it. When you had the defending champion at the time, Golden State Warriors, on the ropes, and you disappeared quicker than a David Copperfield magic trick. You disappeared. In key situations since 2012, you have disappeared. You and quite a few other people I can name, one of which I'll talk about at the bottom of this hour. You disappeared. What does it matter if you average 37 points per game for the regular season? What do you do in the postseason? Let me answer that. Nothing. Doc Rivers said describing coaching Harden was, quote, challenging, close quote. He doesn't want to play in Philadelphia anymore, and I hope every other team in the NBA slams the door and locks them. Let me go back to 2018, as I'm jumping all over the place when we're talking about Stay Puft Harden or James Sharman, as my buddy Victor says. Who wants to take that on? You had your best shot, James Softon, in 2018 to win a title. You had the Warriors on the ropes down 3-2, and then game 6 happened where you didn't score a point. And your team was outscored 64-25 in the second half. The Warriors tied it at 3, and then they forced a
Game 7.
Where you were driving to the basket with reckless abandon, and it was working. It was working. And then the second half happened. More to the point, the third quarter happened when they ripped you for 38 points. They ripped you, James Harden, and your team for 38 third quarter points to turn an 11-point deficit into a 33 points in the third quarter. I beg your pardon. You got outscored 33-15 in that third quarter. A minus 13 on the floor. You were 12 for 29. You understand? 12 for 29. You were 2 for 13 from distance. Your 32 points didn't mean a hill of beans. When Durant scores 34, Steph Curry adds 27, Klay Thompson adds 19, and most of those came within the third quarter. You understand that? You didn't help your team win in a decisive
Game 7.
Emotionally, James Harden, and thank you, Sick Diggy, for this, you're not humble. You think that because you're in the NBA and because you led a team for 8 seasons, which produced no championships, by the way, which didn't even produce a conference title, about the only thing, I beg your pardon, that you produced was a number 1 seed in 2018, and you got punked in game 7 on your home floor. You got punked. You got punked, you got punched in the mouth, and you were exposed. Well, you got exposed well before that, but you were exposed on what a leader is versus what a leader should be. What a leader isn't, I should say. James Harden. First of all, who the hell are you? to demand another trade when you have yet to fulfill, except for your time in Houston, when you have yet to fulfill a contract in the NBA? I'm sorry, did I say that aloud? You have yet to fulfill a contract since you left Houston. You forced your way out of Houston. You forced your way out of Brooklyn, and now you're trying to force your way out of Philadelphia. If I may borrow the words of the legendary Mike Francesa, I'd lock the doors before anyone decides to entertain an interview with you. I'd lock the door. If I were a commissioner, I'd kick you out and I'd lock the doors before any team in their right mind decides to entertain you for an interview for joining their team. No, I do something worse. You know what I do? I entertain an interview. And then I'd politely say, thanks, but no thanks. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. And so many people lately have said, I know a lot of teams who would sign James Harden. Oh, yeah? Who? Who would actually be fiscally responsible for that contract? Who would actually be mentally smart to take on that contract? Who would actually have the balls to take on that kind of player, to take on that kind of contract, and to take on, as we've seen in the last 4 years, that kind of attitude? Not I, says me. So here is a possible toast to us never, ever, ever seeing James Harden in the NBA again. That was for you, sir.
Wait. Never, ever, ever seen James Harden in the
Never,
NBA
ever,
game?
ever, ever, ever.
All I have to say before we do go on our next break, all I got to say about James Harden is this simple. This fool still thinks that he can win a Larry O'Brien trophy being the number one option on a team.
You mean that fisheye fool actually still thinks that?
He still believes that. He still believes that. But he can't see the forest for the trees, and understanding that, one, he comes up shorter than many in the playoffs, and two, the NBA no longer looks at him as the number one option on any team.
2018.
The best chance he ever had of winning a championship.
And not even 2012, because it was a six man. He was a six man of the year.
He was a six man. Mm-hmm.
As a starter, his best chance was 2018.
By far.
They got blown.
When he had the chance. When he had the chance.
Third quarter, game 6. 33 points allowed. Let me repeat that. Third quarter, game 6, 2018 West Finals. Houston led 3-2 in that series. Everybody
and double digits in that game.
Look, everybody in Houston was turning upside down. 33 third quarter points.
while they only scored 16. They led by 11 going into the
second half. Going in the second half, and they got kicked in the ass.
Yeah, and they followed up.
They got outscored in the fourth quarter, 31-9.
I was going to say, and they followed that putrid performance in the third quarter by even more putrid one. And that, to me, is the legacy of one James Harden.
If you want to call it that. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun when y'all get back. We're gonna eviscerate James Harden some more.
Yeah,
we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah. So Tom of CSTV. So Tom, no, Harden didn't sign with the Sixers.
No,
and I don't think he will. He actually wants to get out of Philly,
and fast.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say more this afternoon. Back in the deuce.
This is Snowman in the morning.
We're not a cooking show. We're a show about cooking. We turn the camera around and point it at you. Our show takes place right inside your kitchen.
Hey y'all, Snowman here. Catch me, Cole Johnson, Wise El Jefe, Vicala, and the rest of the usual suspects and a few unusual suspects as we bring you 2 hours of the best sports talk you will ever watch and listen to. It's called Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Now on at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific on CSTV and CSTVNow.com. Join us, won't you?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Thursday nights are wrestling night on CSTV. Tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific to see all the amazing Next Level Pro Wrestling stars on Thursday Night Throwdown on CSTVNow.com and the CSTV app on your Roku device.
Cause we take this job so serious.
The f*** is that? Sorry, pardon me. My apologies.
What in the all types of blue hell? This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson.
You know what made it so bad in Game 6? Houston scored 39 points in that first quarter.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
39 first quarter points.
You want to know why that? You want to know why that particular Game 7 doesn't frustrate me as much as Game 6 does.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it frustrates me. Everything they did right in the first half, they did wrong in the second. I'm like, what the heck are you doing?
Look at the line score. 39, 22, 16, and 9. Total 86 points. Meanwhile, for the Dubs, 22, 29, 33, and 31.
Mm-hmm.
There's your problem right there, James Harden. And 4 for 12 from distance. Let me say this correctly. 4 from distance.
He was never the type to actually reassess and say, okay, the shots from deep aren't falling. Let me adjust my game and try other ways to score.
Exactly. And then
was that type.
And then came. Hold up. Let me find it. And then came
Game 7.
On Memorial Day.
Now, what frustrates me about that game, they had what it took to get the Warriors up out the paint.
Yes.
Because Harden actually decided to involve Clint Capella and was destroying them on the inside. They actually used their advantage that they did have on the Warriors. And then they go into halftime. They're like, okay, well, it looks like everything's fine. Let's go back to things as normal. and then they literally shoot themselves out of the game and out of the playoffs.
You know how
making the game
easier.
easy for a team that you cannot make easy. You can't make games easy, especially for the Warriors then. You can't make games easy for a team like the Warriors. And if you make it so easy that all they got to do is just be themselves, forget it.
58-38 in the second half of Game 7.
Outscored them in the third quarter in Game 7, 38-16.
and the Rock, and you know, I didn't tease you when I called you that night.
No, you didn't.
All I asked
you could have, but you didn't.
All I asked was one simple question: what the hell happened in the second half? That was
because I was asking the same question. I was asking the same question. I was like, what the heck? I was like, I saw two different games again.
When I was on the bus back home from work that night, because I worked that night, and the house where I was working, because I was doing in-home healthcare at the time, the house where I was working, we were all set up to party Memorial Day. You know, I came out there. We had a picnic, and my boss said, "You want some extra hours?" Hell yeah, bring them on. Go find somewhere to chill, because we know your current living situation, and then come on back about 4:00. I'll take you to 11. Sweet. And the reason she did that is because of Game 7 and because she knows I wanted to watch it. So she brought the whole house together. Like, hey, let's have fun. The only thing is I couldn't see the finish of it because I didn't have a car and I had to go get a bus to get back to where I was staying. But I called Cole when I got in, and my lone question to him was, what the hell happened? And Cole was, you see how Cole was shaking his head now? That's how he was shaking his head then.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he, and he didn't answer. And I thought I lost him on a connection. And if you could hear the sullen in his voice, I'm fine, but I'm not. And I remember his words, I'm fine, but I'm not.
Yeah. I'm good, but I'm pissed at what I just witnessed.
Yes.
And it went far beyond as a Rockets fan. It went far beyond that because I was
basketball fan. You don't want to see games like that. I mean, when you get picked apart by a superior team, that's one thing. When you get picked apart by a team that you were doing better than, and you went away from your original plan, that worked.
That is what frustrated me. I'm like, as a basketball enthusiast, and I actually coached the game at one time. I was like, you actually saw this worked, and you have the advantage, and you still had that advantage the rest of the game because you understood there was no answer for Clint Capella.
None.
Except you don't go to him.
They took him out of the game.
Yeah, it was like you as your own team effectively took your best weapon and made him expendable and expensive. I'm like, well, you deserve to lose the game. And you have heard me say this. I'm like, look, I can give all excuses to the Rockets and say, well, yeah, look, if Chris Paul didn't pull his hamstring, the Rockets would have won the series. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And I can say, well, the Rockets proved that they were the better team because of the record, and they won 2 out of 3 that year to the Warriors. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. First team to 4 in the playoffs wins. What'd you do in the Western Conference Finals when you went head-to-head?
Right.
What'd you do in the Western Conference Finals when you went head-to-head with the team you've had in your sights since 2014?
For 4 years. At the time, for 4 years, you had not only had you had this team, you said 4 years, your then general manager said that this is the team that was constructed to beat the squad that has been in your sights the last 4 years. Oh, by the way, the team that bounced you from the playoffs 2 times before in that stretch. And they, again, lost to the better team. I had no problems admitting it then, and you know this to be true, sir. I had no problems admitting it then. I definitely had no problems admitting it now.
No.
The Rockets lost to the better team because the Warriors wanted it more. It's just that simple.
And the Warriors were cerebral in picking them apart.
And they did a beautiful. Now, I'll say this from a basketball standpoint. The Warriors could not have destroyed a team in one quarter. And I thought they did a bang-up job in the third quarter in Game 6. They could not have done a more bang-up job to destroy a team in one quarter than they did the third quarter in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals.
You know what's crazy about that
could not have done a better job.
You know what's crazy about that third quarter in Game 7? You know how many three-point field goals Golden State hit in that third period? 4.
No, but I said not that many.
4.
Not
they
that
were
many.
4 for 9 in that third quarter from distance.
They attacked them, and this is how they did it.
They beat them at
the
wrong
Rockets.
game.
Beat them at the wrong game. Missed threes. And the Warriors took the rebound off those long rebounds off those missed threes. Ran down the court, easy layups. One easy layup after another easy layup after another easy layup. They'll mix in a 3, and then another easy layup because the Rockets kept bricking threes.
And what have you always said about the Princeton offense on steroids? It's death by 1,000 backdoor
cuts. Because that's what happened in the fourth quarter. Or all the way to the second half when they actually were in half court sets. Because it was like, because the Rockets were geared toward them trying to chunk up threes, the Warriors were, but the Warriors weren't doing that. But the Warriors just broke the Rockets defense down and just backdoor cut them to pieces.
They sliced them to pieces. Thank you, Jim Durham. They sliced them to pieces.
Because this is the funny thing. The first half, Durant was a non-factor.
None.
He was a non-factor. By the time we got to about the midway through the fourth quarter, those backdoor cuts we were just talking about, Durant was the recipient of so many of them. It wasn't even funny.
6 of them to be exact. 6 of them.
Yeah.
And when you have Stephen Curry cutting backdoor, when you have Stephen Curry getting offensive rebounds, when you have Jordan Bell getting offensive rebounds off your best big,
game, set, match. And when I was seeing that, I was like, and this was like early fourth quarter, I was like, I want to believe the Rockets would come back, but the way they played in the third quarter in this game, nah. They got their punk card called, they gotten beat. They got beat at their own game, and they're getting beat in their home stadium.
Yep.
Yeah, they deserve the whole.
How do you silence 18,023 rabid Rockets fans? By doing what the Warriors did to them in that third period.
And I'll say this as a proud Rockets fan. The Rockets, 2018, even though they won 65 games, which is still a franchise record for most games won in the season, they deserve to hold the biggest they received in the last 30 years.
And I had a couple of my coworkers, and I had some of the residents ask me, "Aren't you afraid of the Warriors losing in Game 7?" No.
Why?
And,
why would you be?
And one of the guys he would always tease me about being a Warriors fan, but bless his heart, love him dearly. You're like, why aren't you afraid that the Dubs may not pull this one out? I said, because y'all played the first half, we played the second half. And he looked at me when that third quarter was going on. He looked at me and he went, "Damn if you didn't call that." I'm like, come on, you watched Game 6 with me.
I mean, why?
And he just shook his head and went, "Yeah, I did."
Seriously though, why would a Warriors fan be afraid that they wouldn't pull that series out? Because they did beat the Rockets in Game 1, and that it was held in Toyota Center there. So it's not even the aspect of, well, they really can't lay a finger on them in Houston. They already did that.
They did. Matter of fact, if you think about it, even though the Warriors trailed in that series at one time, 3-2, the Warriors set the tone by going to Houston and slapping them in the mouth.
Yeah, because they led the series 1-0 and 2-1. So it wasn't they couldn't win Houston. It wasn't they couldn't control the. Yeah, it wasn't they had fear of beating Houston in Houston. It wasn't that they couldn't dictate the tempo and pace of the series. They did those two things already.
And that was one of the few times the Warriors did not hold home court advantage in the playoffs.
Right.
During this dynastic run. That was one of the few. That was the only time up until the 19 finals.
Yeah. Up
until the 19 finals when Toronto held home court advantage.
Yeah.
Up
So-
until the 19 finals, the only time where the Dubs did not have home court advantage was 18 against Houston.
Yeah.
And that's because Houston won 65 games and the Warriors only won 58.
So to me, the two factors were, as the series went along, the two factors were, what answer would they possibly have for Clint Capella if the Rockets actually decided to use him? And how could they contain Chris Paul, because it looked like it was going to be more and more difficult for them to do that. Those are the two. Those are the two. Those are. As I'm saying, those are the two factors to me that the Warriors had to deal with. One, with Paul. Paul, he injured himself, so problem solved there. And Clint Capella, plays aren't designed for him. It depends on if Harden actually wants to utilize him in basically a penetration dish game.
Well, let me
Harden's arrogance eliminated that.
Let me do a quick shout out to one of our newest affiliates, KSOS, based out of Salem, Oregon. So we got the Pacific Northwest tuning us in on an early morning out west. One more break, and then we'll get to what y'all been waiting for. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Now the fun begins in a deuce.
Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
If you talk, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
He was only 58 years old when he passed away. That outcome could have been different.
Colorado happens to be one of the worst states for radon levels.
It's in our ground, and it seeps up.
The more you breathe radon, the more chance you have of DNA being hit and the cell mutated. The EPA estimates 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year caused by radon.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just...
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
And now batting, the birthday boy who's celebrating the Yankees' resurgence, number 420, Wise El Jefe. Number 420.
What resurgence?
Good morning, Wise, and happy birthday to you, my brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, happy birthday to
I
you,
got a
man.
question for Wise. Have you been in the new house?
Yes.
The house that Tell me about that experience, because I had my first stadium tour when I went to Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. What's it like in the new house? Because I want to see it.
It's a big museum. It's a if you're a Yankee fan, it's heaven for you because you get to see all the old memorabilia, old photos, and all other stuff. So
I bet.
Because I want to see Monument Park. I had a chance to see the old house.
Yeah.
I had a chance to tour the old house and the old booth where John Sterling does his thing and place where Michael Kay does his thing, but I haven't had a chance to see the new house yet, and I want to. So now my beautiful wife now has a mission, and that's to get me to all the stadiums in the country. And
there ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm with Wise.
I'm smiling from ear to ear because when she surprised me with that while we were on vacation, and she wouldn't give me a clue. She just kept telling me, I have a surprise for you. I'm like, okay, what are you up to? I won't tell you until Friday. And then she dropped that one on me. she dropped that one on me. 39 after the hour. Once again, a shout out to those listening via KSOS, the Soul of Salem, and those watching on CSTV as well as BS3 TV, and those in my hometown of Chicago at WIRU-DB, and the folks at WRU. I got a proposal for you for Labor Day weekend. All right, it's Wednesday. I have something up my sleeve. And I'll keep this one short for time purposes. Trust me.
Why the you lying? Why you always lying?
Shut up.
In a world where partial greatness is celebrated and total greatness is shunned, there stands to be a figure on the lips of those who love him and those who hate him. The inane comparisons to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant continue and has existed since 2003. There is no end in sight, for the battle between those who unconditionally love and unconditionally hate him wages on. These are their stories. Welcome to the Bronzexual Confessions.
All right, sir.
Okay. Nick Tenachik has this meme up with you-know-who having this look on his face. And the description... No, the picture says needs 1,348 points. And Cole, I think you know the stat line I'm about to bring you.
Yes, you are. Yes, I do.
So I will not repeat it. What I will repeat,
and I've said it already, but yes.
Yes. What I will repeat is the second sentence to said comment, and it reads as follows.
Quote.
Appreciate what we're seeing because there'll never be a player this good again.
Close quote.
This coffee with McCarthy is sponsored by Steph Curry Cognac. One, and it's lights out. Damn, you're good.
That was a mistake. I'm sorry, sir.
No, it wasn't. That was perfect. That was perfect. Let me read that second sentence again.
Quote.
Appreciate what we're seeing because there'll never be a player this good again.
Close quote. What was that chump doing listening to What More Can I Say by Jay-Z? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes.
My bad. Oh, Lord.
Yes. Mr. Paul Allen, if you would.
Are you kidding me?
We'll never see a player this good again. We've seen a few players on his watch that are not only this good, but better. My second response, Mr. Harvey.
Oh, hell no!
You know what joke I got that one from.
Mm-hmm.
We'll never see a player this good again.
Tiger uppercut.
Never see a player that we'll never see a player this good again. Kawhi.
see and play this good again.
Keep going.
Never see a player this good again.
Keep going.
See a player this good again.
I'm getting too old for this.
Keep going.
Never see a player this good ever again.
Is you for real?
Never see a player this good again.
Bitch, are you for real?
That's the one I'm looking for. Matter of fact, close it with Red Fox, if you would, please.
That's exactly what I was about to do. Never see a player this good again. Red, take it.
Bitch, please.
God, I love that movie. Never see a player this good again. I have a question, Nick. When was he ever this good? When did he ever have an impact in the NBA? When? More to the point, how? More to the point, in the form of a question, what the hell did he do to have an impact in the NBA? Because Steph has won on his watch. The late, great Kobe Bryant won on his watch several times for both. Okay, just telling you. Kevin Durant whooped his ass twice in the finals, allowing only one win in 2 years. Kawhi Leonard punked him twice. Matter of fact, Kawhi Leonard got even after losing in 2013. He got even in 2014 with a gentleman's sweep and was named Finals MVP. Then there was a thread that Cole and I were both in that was actually praising the Fakers on their moves in the offseason. You don't win in the offseason. You win during the season, you fool. And my partner said something that is so true. When he said,
quote,
the conversation needs to happen between Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and Anthony needs to flat out tell him, this is my team, not yours. Then and only then will the Lakers proceed.
Close quote.
My next 3 words are as follows. Find the lie. No lie to be found? Thank you.
There's no lie to be found.
Thank you. And someone actually had the nerve to say, oh, that conversation happened. That's a lie. That conversation never happened, because if the conversation actually happened, they would have depended on Anthony Davis more than the situation in the bubble championship.
Yeah.
Oh, did I spill that tea aloud?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He said, that conversation already happened, man. The bubble championship. Oh, that's right. It did happen. Yeah, you mean when he won the finals MVP?
Try again.
No, because the people who worship this guy won the finals MVP. It wasn't Anthony Davis. It was Yo Kang.
Damn it. Why'd you have to make me laugh with that? Damn it. True as you are. No lie to be found. But damn it. You bronsexuals worship this guy so much, so badly, and just so want to see him ascend to his throne. What throne? He's never, ever in life held the throne. Ever. And this ain't just me talking as a LeBron hater. I don't hate LeBron. Get it straight. I don't hate LeBron. What I hate about LeBron is what he's done to the game and what he has done for the game. Matter of fact, let me put it this way, and I expect my EP to push the correct button when I ask this question, and it reads as follows. Who actually of sound mind and basketball thinking body believes that LeBron James, yes, that LeBron James, Yo Kang, has had an impact on the NBA in 21 years? I got him shaking his head again. That's a rarity for me. Who actually believes that LeBron James actually plays the game of basketball correctly? Who actually believes LeBron James in terms of his impact on the NBA is worth a good flying damn? I would say I rest my case there, but you know these bronzexuals come in bunches and 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 bunches. And frankly, I'm tired. Because these fools have no education when it comes to basketball.
I'm getting too old for this.
Exactly. 20 years of this BS is enough. But unfortunately, it's not going to be enough until LeBron plays with Bronny. Dear God. I'll say it again. 20 years of this ish is enough. But it's not going to be enough until LeBron plays at least a season, and I capitalize the word at least against my own will. At least a season with Bronny.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no.
Thank you. Matter of fact, Bishop Bullwinkle, I'll let you close this out. Has LeBron ever made a significant impact on the game, on the sport, and on the league in 20 years?
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no.
Before the king ascends, until the king ascends to his throne. Get the hell out of my face, you thirsty bitches.
Good, it's over. In a world where logic and sense flies completely out the window, while purple and yellow glasses are donned, rises a figure who encourages ridiculous, undying loyalty. Good Lord, I'm about to throw up. This has been yet another installment of The Bronzexual Confessions.
Yeah, I let it roll. I let it roll. Because why? Why?
I was expecting the cadre. I was expecting the. Yes, LeBron, it is you. It's always been you. It is you. Now it'll always be you. I was expecting the.
Ready? And pull. Trash.
I was expecting
This Bronzexual Confession is brought to you by Bron Joy Juice. Bron Joy Juice, the ultimate joy juice of bronzexuals worldwide. Made with 100% organic seal milk.
I swear you were trying not to laugh when you cut that ad. I swear you were trying not to laugh when you cut that ad.
I was expecting.
Play that again. I'll tell you the point where I expected you to laugh.
Right. This Bronzexual Confession is brought to you by Bron Joy Juice. Bron Joy Juice, the ultimate joy juice of bronzexuals worldwide. Made with 100% organic seal milk.
When you said the ultimate joy juice, I thought you were going to burst out laughing. When you were reading the script, and I've done this, you were reading the script, and you fixed your face. You figured like, okay, I'm gonna do this in one take and one take only, and then you got to the ultimate joy juice, and I thought you were gonna lose it. The hell was that?
So I realized that I think, even though it's not advertised,
Right.
There has to be a place for stupid people. We don't know because we're not stupid, so we don't know anything about it. It's like a secret club society.
Oh my gosh.
So I come to the conclusion that he graduated from SU, stupid university. Yeah, all the stupid ass letters that go along with graduating high honors of being stupid. I can't do no more, man.
Vámonos, dominos, vamonos. Stupid university, where everyone graduates magna cum stupid.
I darn near laughed after that one.
I thought you would.
I still laugh after that one.
What's that?
I said I still laugh after that one.
Who doesn't? I mean, Bass said that live on air, and Cole's wheels were turning at 200 miles an hour.
As soon as he said it.
As soon as she said it.
I was like, oh my gosh, this has to be cut. Oh man.
One was done while I was in the hospital. I think that rant was done while I was off the air, while I was in the hospital recovering.
I was like, oh, Bass, go ahead, brother. You don't know what you just created. Because I'm about to cut this thing into a commercial.
Oh man.
We got to do a tribute to Bass with some of his best reads.
Definitely.
Oh man, Bass has got too much. It's his
interaction
with Playmaker.
That just occurred to me.
Oh gosh, that was hilarious.
Which one?
The Playmaker one. Better yet, for those who are unaware, this one.
Now, forgive me not knowing the brother. You got your mic black. I don't know who the hell you are. It's like you're in the broadcasting witness protection program.
Here's the funny thing. I was struggling to find a good intro for Playmaker.
Yes.
And then Bass hits a home run like that.
Out of the park.
Oh man, he didn't even try.
No, wasn't even trying.
No.
Oh my gosh.
That's the best part. He wasn't trying. And then this one happened.
Cause we take this job so serious.
Man, I went home that day and talked to my wife Vicky, and Vicky was like, "What's wrong with you? You pissed off?" Yeah, I got this partner I'm working with back in the radio station. Man. The Negro be lying. What?
Negro.
Everybody in a fit of giggles, myself included.
Oh man,
everybody in a fit of giggles.
And that's what it's so funny because he be like, he just came out of nowhere, like, yeah, this cat I work back at the radio station, Negro be lying.
You lying,
man.
Yeah.
And the look on his face when he described that. The look on his face.
You understand why he would say that though. You can understand why if you know Brian.
Yeah,
like, man, this dude got too many stories or he knows too many damn things. You like, this Negro be lying.
Yeah. And to this day, I thank Kurt Warner for producing that bit.
Oh gosh, I think
that
Kurt
was
Warner.
that was the subject of conversation. That was one of the first conversations Bates and I had.
I thank Kurt Warner for producing that bit. I thank you, Brian, for having Bass think that. Because now this is filtered onto mentality because I remember because I was priming Wise to ask a question.
Oh no.
And in the midst of it, he stops me and he stops me and he has this look on his face like, and he says, you see my face? Does he see my face? I said, yes, I see your face, Wise. He said, yeah, this is the Negro be lying face. I'm like,
oh no. Oh no. Now Wise has categorized that face. So mentality is now mentality has seeped here and now Bass has seeped into mentality.
Yes, he has.
Yes. Folks, don't forget 4 p.m. Eastern today via both Cole Sports and Snowman Multimedia. You will see a live version of Cole Sports And y'all better hang on to your seats for this hour. The Negro be lying face.
Wow. I was gonna take the day off, right? I wasn't gonna do no show today, but today at 5, I think I'm gonna just do a little birthday podcast. Yeah.
Okay, so birthday podcast was stuck in my mind at 5, following Cole Sports. There you go. Look at that.
I'll pick that one. I'll pick that one up too, because I will probably be running around the farm taking care of the animals, which is what I'm going to do here when we sign off. And we better do this right now. Yeah. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. Always remember, if your dreams don't scare you,
and then you'll be saying this.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe,
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
For this.
The following is a public service announcement from David 3000.
Yankees suck.
This has been a public service announcement from David 3000.
I'm going to always say this, but David 3000 sounds like he's 12 years old. That's it. That's it.
We are out of here.
Yeah, shout out to David 3000, though.
Shout out to everyone that's associated with this show, the networks that pick it up, and the stations that run it. We love all of y'all.
That's what we're doing. That's what we hope you're doing.
We are out of here. We will see you tomorrow morning. God bless you, everybody.
And again, happy birthday to you, brother. I love you, man.
Happy birthday,
man. I love you guys too.
We love you. We love you.